The Moonlit Kingdom of Sevenvale. The night was soft, almost shy, as it laid its dark velvet across the land of Sevenvale. Stars bloomed gently in the sky, each one like a petal of light drifting in an invisible wind. The air was warm, with just a whisper of coolness that hinted at the touch of dawn many hours away. At the edge of the moonlit meadow, a small figure stirred. She was Leora, a girl with hair like poured silk and eyes the color of deep forest moss. No one in Sevenvale quite knew where she had come from. Some said she stepped out of the silver mist one evening. Others believed she had always been there, a quiet part of the land's heart. Her cottage sat just beyond the meadow, tucked beneath a great willow whose branches swayed like the hems of an old gown. Tonight, the willow seemed to lean a little closer, as though curious about where she might wander. Leora wrapped a shawl around her shoulders, pale blue, with threads of silver that shimmered when they caught the moonlight. It had been a gift from the river, or so she liked to tell the children of the village. She stepped onto the worn path that curved toward the water. Each stone beneath her feet glowed faintly, lit from within by some secret magic. In Sevenvale, even the ground had stories. The night hummed with a gentle chorus, the rustle of leaves, the hush of far-off waves against the shore, the soft chime of glass bells swaying in the windows of sleeping houses. When she reached the river, she paused. It was not an ordinary river. Its surface shimmered with starlight, as though the sky had spilled itself into the water. The current moved slowly, lazily, carrying tiny motes of gold that winked in and out of sight. Leora knelt at the bank and dipped her fingers into the cool glow. The river always felt like a friend, one who listened without asking questions. "I'm going to the lantern forest tonight," she murmured, as if telling the water a secret. "The fireflies are holding their gathering." The river gave no reply, but its ripples deepened, a language Leora had long since learned to understand. She rose and began to follow the river's curve toward the wooden bridge. The bridge was old, so old that moss had begun to paint its edges green, but it hummed softly beneath her steps as if each plank remembered every traveler who had ever crossed it. Halfway across, she stopped to look down at her reflection. The starlight pooled around her face, making her look both familiar and strange, like someone she had been long ago. From the other side of the bridge, a faint glow began to spill onto the path. Leora smiled. The lantern forest was awake. Leora stepped off the bridge and into the heart of the lantern forest. Soft smile. The trees here were tall and ancient, their leaves like delicate hands reaching toward the stars. Each branch held clusters of tiny lanterns, glowing softly in hues of amber, jade, and sapphire. The fireflies flickered around her like floating stars, weaving slow dances through the cool night air. Whisper. They whispered secrets in a language only the quiet could understand. As she walked, the ground beneath her feet changed from stone to soft moss, cushioned and cool like a feather bed. The scent of blooming night jasmine filled the air, sweet and calming. Deeper in the forest, She came to a clearing where the trees curved protectively, forming a natural dome. At its center, a circle of smooth stones glowed faintly. This was the meeting place for the fireflies' gathering. Leora settled down on one of the stones, wrapping her shawl tighter around her. She closed her eyes for a moment and breathed in the peaceful night. A soft rustle made her open them again. From the shadows, a small creature emerged, no bigger than a rabbit, with wings like spun glass that shimmered faintly. It blinked at her with eyes full of quiet curiosity. "Hello, little one," Leora whispered, reaching out a gentle hand. The creature fluttered closer and perched on her finger. Its wings trembled like the flutter of a lullaby's last note. "You're a glowfin," Leora said softly, "the forest's gentle messenger." The glowfin chirped softly, and Leora smiled in voice. Together, they watched as more fireflies gathered, their lights pulsing in rhythm. A slow, soothing heartbeat that seemed to breathe life into the very air. As the night deepened, Leora felt a calmness settle over her. The worries of the day, the weight of silence and solitude, all melted into the glow of the fireflies and the gentle hum of the forest. She leaned back against a mossy tree trunk, her eyelids growing heavy. "Whisper." The fireflies' lullaby wrapped around her like a soft blanket, carrying her slowly, sweetly toward dreams. As Leora's eyes fluttered closed, the clearing around her began to shimmer and blur, as if the night itself was folding into a soft, silken dream. The stars above stretched and twinkled, melting slowly into shapes both familiar and new. She found herself floating, weightless, above the forest canopy, where the leaves glowed faintly beneath her like patches of emerald moonlight. The fireflies danced alongside her, their light trailing in ribbons that sparkled with the quiet magic of the night. Far below, the river of starlight wound like a silver thread through the dark earth, inviting her to follow its endless, peaceful journey. A gentle voice echoed softly in the breeze, like a lullaby carried from far away. "Rest, dear one. The night holds you safe." Wrapped in the soothing embrace of the dream, Leora's heart slowed to the rhythm of the fireflies' glowing dance, and the forest whispered its secrets of peace and wonder. As Leora's eyes fluttered closed, the clearing around her began to shimmer and blur, as if the night itself was folding into a soft, silken dream. The stars above stretched and twinkled, melting slowly into shapes both familiar and new. She found herself floating, weightless, above the forest canopy, where the leaves glowed faintly beneath her like patches of emerald moonlight. The fireflies danced alongside her, their light trailing in ribbons that sparkled with the quiet magic of the night. Far below, the river of starlight wound like a silver thread through the dark earth, inviting her to follow its endless, peaceful journey. A gentle voice echoed softly in the breeze, like a lullaby carried from far away. "Rest, dear one. The night holds you safe." Wrapped in the soothing embrace of the dream, Leora's heart slowed to the rhythm of the fireflies' glowing dance, and the forest whispered its secrets of peace and wonder. The moon hung low over the hills of Sevenvale, its silver light spilling over the quiet meadow. Leora walked barefoot through the grass, the dew cool against her skin. A sleepy breeze drifted past, carrying the scent of honey blossoms. She reached a stone archway hidden in the shadows. It had been waiting for her for a very long time. Fireflies drifted lazily around it, their glow pulsing like tiny heartbeats. On the other side, a narrow bridge curved over a river that shimmered like liquid stars. Each step she took seemed to sing, a lullaby only she could hear. Leora stepped off the bridge and into the heart of the lantern forest. The trees here were tall and ancient, their leaves like delicate hands reaching toward the stars. Each branch held clusters of tiny lanterns, glowing softly in hues of amber, jade, and sapphire. The fireflies flickered around her like floating stars, weaving slow dances through the cool night air. They whispered secrets in a language only the quiet could understand. As she walked, the ground beneath her feet changed from stone to soft moss, cushioned and cool like a featherbed. The scent of blooming night jasmine filled the air, sweet and calming. Deeper in the forest, she came to a clearing where the trees curved protectively, forming a natural dome. At its center, a circle of smooth stones glowed faintly. This was the meeting place for the fireflies' gathering. Leora settled down on one of the stones, wrapping her shawl tighter around her. She closed her eyes for a moment and breathed in the peaceful night. A soft rustle made her open them again. From the shadows, a small creature emerged, no bigger than a rabbit, with wings like spun glass that shimmered faintly. It blinked at her, with eyes full of quiet curiosity. "Hello, little one," Leora whispered, reaching out a gentle hand. The creature fluttered closer and perched on her finger. Its wings trembled like the flutter of a lullaby's last note. "You're a glowfin," Leora said softly, "the forest's gentle messenger." The glowfin chirped softly, and Leora smiled. Together, they watched as more fireflies gathered, their lights pulsing in rhythm, a slow, soothing heartbeat that seemed to breathe life into the very air. As the night deepened, Leora felt a calmness settle over her. The worries of the day, the weight of silence and solitude, all melted into the glow of the fireflies and the gentle hum of the forest. She leaned back against a mossy tree trunk, her eyelids growing heavy. The fireflies' lullaby wrapped around her like a soft blanket, carrying her slowly, sweetly toward dreams. As Leora's eyes fluttered closed, the clearing around her began to shimmer and blur, as if the night itself was folding into a soft, silken dream. The stars above stretched and twinkled, melting slowly into shapes both familiar and new. She found herself floating, weightless, above the forest canopy, where the leaves glowed faintly beneath her like patches of emerald moonlight. The fireflies danced alongside her, their light trailing in ribbons that sparkled with the quiet magic of the night. Far below, the river of starlight wound like a silver thread through the dark earth, inviting her to follow its endless, peaceful journey. A gentle voice echoed softly in the breeze like a lullaby carried from far away. "Rest, dear one. The night holds you safe." Wrapped in the soothing embrace of the dream, Leora's heart slowed to the rhythm of the fireflies' glowing dance, and the forest whispered its secrets of peace and wonder. As Leora drifted above the shimmering forest, the soft breeze carried her toward a gentle light glowing in the distance. It was a lantern, but unlike any she had seen. Its flame flickered with colors of the dawn, shifting from pink to gold to pale blue, as if holding the first moments of morning inside. Drawn by the light, Leora floated closer and saw, sitting quietly beneath a blossoming elder tree, a figure wrapped in robes woven from mist and petals. Her eyes sparkled like liquid silver, and her smile was as warm as the gentle sun after a cool night. "Welcome, Leora," the figure said, her voice a soft melody that seemed to rise from the earth itself. I am Seraphina, the keeper of the morning light." Leora felt a calm warmth spread through her chest. "I've heard stories of you," she whispered, "but I never imagined meeting you in a dream." Seraphina laughed quietly, a sound like wind through wind chimes. "Dreams and reality are threads in the same tapestry, dear one. Here, in this place, all the threads weave together." She held out her hand, and tiny motes of light gathered, swirling gently between her fingers. "Would you like to learn the Song of the Dawn?" Leora nodded slowly, feeling the peaceful power in Seraphina's presence. As the first notes rose like a soft breeze, the colors of the lantern brightened, and the world around them hummed with a gentle, waking energy, a promise of new beginnings wrapped in the stillness of the night. Together, they sang the lullaby of the morning star, a melody soft enough to carry a dreamer through twilight and into peaceful sleep. As the last notes faded, the dream began to dissolve, the colors melting like watercolor in rain. Leora felt herself gently falling, down, down, toward the warm earth beneath the willow tree. She opened her eyes to the soft light of dawn. The sky brushed with pale pinks and golds. The river whispered at her feet, the meadow stretching wide and peaceful before her. Leora rose slowly, her heart light and calm, carrying with her the song of the dawn, a secret melody to soothe restless nights and bring gentle dreams. And as the sun rose over Sevenvale, the land seemed to sigh, wrapped in the soft promise of a new day and the quiet magic waiting to be discovered when the stars returned again. The sun had barely slipped below the horizon when the soft twilight began to settle over Sevenvale. Leora found herself drawn once again to the edge of the forest, where the lantern forest awaited in quiet splendor. The path was lined with silver leaves that shimmered faintly, as if dusted with starlight. Each step she took was cushioned by moss that felt like velvet beneath her feet. The air was sweet with the scent of wild honeysuckle and the faint hum of the night's first insects. As she ventured deeper, the trees grew tall and close, their branches entwined like old friends sharing secrets. Tiny lanterns hung from every twig and leaf, glowing softly in hues of gold, lavender, and soft green. They bobbed gently in the breeze, like fireflies in a slow, enchanted dance. Suddenly, a warm glow flickered to her side. Leora turned to see a small creature, slender and delicate, with wings that glistened like dewdrops on spider silk. It smiled up at her, its eyes shining with gentle kindness. "Hello, Leora," it said in a voice as light as a whisper. "I'm Mirren, the forest's storyteller." Leora smiled back, feeling the calm wash over her like a wave. "Will you tell me a story tonight, Mirren?" The little creature nodded eagerly. "Of course, but not just any story. A story that sings softly, like the lullabies of old." They settled beneath a great oak, its roots curling like giant sleeping serpents beneath the earth. Mirren's wings fluttered once, and then the air filled with the faint glow of floating words, shimmering letters that drifted like autumn leaves. "My tale begins with a river," Mirren whispered, "a river that carries not water, but memories, shimmering and endless." Leora closed her eyes, letting the soft melody of Mirren's voice wash over her. The river in her mind flowed gently, carrying stories of laughter, dreams, and quiet moments, each one a thread in the tapestry of Sevenvale. As the story unfolded, the lanterns swayed in rhythm, casting dancing shadows that wrapped around Leora like a warm embrace. The forest hummed along, its ancient heart beating slow and steady. By the time Mirren's tale came to rest, Leora's eyelids were heavy, and her breath was soft and even. She thanked the storyteller with a quiet smile, feeling the deep peace settle within her. With one last glance at the glowing lanterns, Leora turned back toward the path home, carrying the gentle light of stories whispered in the night, until the stars called her again. As Leora walked beneath the soft canopy of lantern-lit leaves, Mirren fluttered beside her, his delicate wings shimmering in the gentle glow. "Tonight," he said, "I will tell you a story about the stars that fall gently from the sky." The fireflies twinkled around them like tiny sparks of magic caught in a slow dance. The forest held its breath, as if waiting for the tale to begin. "My story begins long ago," Mirren whispered, "when the stars were not fixed in the sky, but drifted softly down to rest in the forests and rivers below." Leora's eyes grew wide with wonder as the story unfolded, painting pictures of twinkling lights settling on mossy stones, turning them into glowing islands. The stars whispered secrets of hope and dreams to the creatures of the night. They came to a quiet glade where the softest moss carpeted the ground. There, Leora paused, feeling the magic pulse beneath her feet. The stars in Mirren's tale seemed to live here still, their glow faint but alive. "Listen closely," Mirren said, his voice barely more than a breath, "and you may hear their quiet songs carried on the wind." Leora closed her eyes, breathing in the calm night air, feeling the gentle hum of the glowing stars and the soft lullaby they sang just for her. The forest around them swayed gently, the lanterns twinkling in rhythm with the ancient melody. As the tale came to a close, Leora felt a deep peace settle in her heart, the kind that only the quiet magic of the night could bring. With a soft smile, she thanked Mirren, knowing she would carry the stars' gentle light within her until dawn. As the soft glow of the lantern forest wrapped around them, Mirren led Leora deeper into the woods, where the trees began to thin and reveal a secret garden bathed in moonlight. This was the Dreamweaver's garden, a place where flowers bloomed only at night, their petals shimmering like spun glass. In the center of the garden stood a figure cloaked in robes of twilight blue, her hair flowing like silver threads in the breeze. Her eyes held the calm of starlit skies, and her smile was gentle and knowing. "Welcome, Leora," she said softly, her voice like a lullaby carried on the wind. "I am Elira, the Dreamweaver." Leora felt a warm calm spread through her as she stepped closer, the soft scent of jasmine and lavender filling the air. Elira motioned to the flowers, which began to glow faintly, releasing tiny sparkles that floated upward like delicate fireflies. "These blossoms hold dreams," Elira explained, "each one a story waiting to be told, a gentle journey for a weary heart." She reached out and touched a bloom, releasing a soft cascade of shimmering petals that drifted around Leora like a gentle snowfall. "Would you like to walk among the dreams?" Elira asked, her voice soothing and warm. Leora nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. Together they wandered through the garden, each flower releasing a soft glow and a whisper of a dream. Tales of peaceful forests, quiet rivers, and skies painted with soft colors. As they walked, Leora felt her worries melt away, replaced by a deep sense of calm and belonging. The Dreamweaver's garden held a magic unlike any other, a place where hearts could rest and souls could breathe. As the soft glow of the lantern forest wrapped around them, Mirren led Leora deeper into the woods, where the trees began to thin and reveal a secret garden bathed in moonlight. This was the Dreamweaver's garden, a place where flowers bloomed only at night, their petals shimmering like spun glass. In the center of the garden stood a figure cloaked in robes of twilight blue, her hair flowing like silver threads in the breeze. Her eyes held the calm of starlit skies, and her smile was gentle and knowing. "Welcome, Leora," she said softly, her voice like a lullaby carried on the wind. "I am Elira, the Dreamweaver." Leora felt a warm calm spread through her as she stepped closer, the soft scent of jasmine and lavender filling the air. Elira motioned to the flowers, which began to glow faintly, releasing tiny sparkles that floated upward like delicate fireflies. "These blossoms hold dreams," Elira explained, "each one a story waiting to be told. A gentle journey for a weary heart." She reached out and touched a bloom, releasing a soft cascade of shimmering petals that drifted around Leora like a gentle snowfall.
"Would you like to walk among the dreams?"
Elira asked, her voice soothing and warm. Leora nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. Together, they wandered through the garden, each flower releasing a soft glow and a whisper of a dream. Tales of peaceful forests, quiet rivers, and skies painted with soft colors. As they walked, Leora felt her worries melt away, replaced by a deep sense of calm and belonging. The Dreamweaver's garden held a magic unlike any other, a place where hearts could rest and souls could breathe. As the moon climbed higher, casting its silver glow over Sevenvale, Leora and Elira left the Dreamweaver's garden behind and wandered toward a meadow that stretched wide and quiet beneath the starry sky. This was the Meadow of Moonflowers, a place where night-blooming petals unfurled only under the tender gaze of the moon. The air was cool and fragrant with the delicate scent of nectar and soft earth. The moonflowers glowed softly in pale shades of white and lavender, their petals shimmering as though woven from moonlight itself. Each flower opened slowly, as if breathing in the calm night air. Leora knelt among the blooms, her fingers brushing gently over the soft petals. The flowers seemed alive, humming quietly, their light pulsing like the slow heartbeat of the earth. Elira smiled, watching her friend with eyes full of kindness.
"This meadow holds the dreams of rest,"
she said softly.
"It's where the world breathes deeply and lets go of its worries."
Suddenly, a gentle breeze swept through the meadow, stirring the flowers in a slow, rhythmic dance. Their glow brightened and dimmed in a quiet pattern, like a silent lullaby sung by the night itself. Leora closed her eyes and let the melody wash over her. She imagined herself lying on a bed of moonflowers, their soft light wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. The gentle hum of the meadow filled her ears, a peaceful song that soothed every part of her being. In her mind's eye, she saw the moonflowers slowly folding their petals as if tucking her into a safe, dreamy place. The stars above blinked softly, their light steady and reassuring. Time seemed to slow, stretching out into a gentle forever as Leora felt herself drifting on the edge of sleep, calm, safe, and deeply at peace. Elira's voice floated through the meadow like a warm breeze.
"Whenever the world feels heavy, remember the moonflowers. They hold the quiet strength of night, ready to cradle your heart."
Leora smiled, a soft warmth blossoming inside her chest.
"I will remember,"
she whispered. The meadow seemed to sigh with her, the moonflowers glowing a little brighter, wrapping the night in their serene embrace. As the gentle glow of the meadow of moonflowers wrapped around them, Elira settled beside Leora on a soft bed of moss, her eyes reflecting the shimmering petals. Would you like to hear the story of these gentle blossoms? She asked softly. Leora nodded, her gaze fixed on the glowing flowers swaying quietly in the night breeze. Yes, please. Elira's voice dropped to a gentle murmur, like a lullaby carried on the wind. Long ago, before even the oldest trees took root, the moonflowers were born from the first touch of moonlight on the earth. She paused, letting the silence stretch, filled only by the faint hum of the meadow. They were a gift from the night, a promise that even in darkness, there would always be light to guide the way. The petals, Elira explained, held the dreams of all who had ever found peace beneath the stars. Each bloom was a gentle keeper of hope, a silent guardian for weary souls. Sometimes, Elira continued, when a traveler feels lost or tired, a moonflower will bloom just for them. Its soft light a quiet reminder that they are never truly alone. Leora felt a warmth settle deep in her heart as she listened, imagining the countless souls comforted by these gentle flowers. She reached out, tracing a glowing petal with her fingertip. I think I can feel their magic, she whispered. Elira smiled, her voice soft like velvet. That magic lives in you too, Leora. It is the light you carry, a light that shines even in the darkest nights. The moonflowers around them pulsed softly, their glow steady and calm. The night seemed to hold its breath, cradling them in a serene embrace. Leora leaned back, her eyes heavy with peaceful sleep, the story wrapping around her like a warm blanket. As the gentle glow of the meadow of moonflowers wrapped around them, Elira settled beside Leora on a soft bed of moss, her eyes reflecting the shimmering petals. Would you like to hear the story of these gentle blossoms? She asked softly. Leora nodded, her gaze fixed on the glowing flowers swaying quietly in the night breeze. Yes, please. Elira's voice dropped to a gentle murmur, like a lullaby carried on the wind. Long ago, before even the oldest trees took root, the moonflowers were born from the first touch of moonlight on the earth. She paused, letting the silence stretch, filled only by the faint hum of the meadow. They were a gift from the night, a promise that even in darkness, there would always be light to guide the way. The petals, Elira explained, held the dreams of all who had ever found peace beneath the stars. Each bloom was a gentle keeper of hope, a silent guardian for weary souls. Sometimes, Elira continued, when a traveler feels lost or tired, a moonflower will bloom just for them, its soft light a quiet reminder that they are never truly alone. Leora felt a warmth settle deep in her heart as she listened, imagining the countless souls comforted by these gentle flowers. She reached out, tracing a glowing petal with her fingertip. I think I can feel their magic, she whispered. Elira smiled, her voice soft like velvet. That magic lives in you too, Leora. It is the light you carry, a light that shines even in the darkest nights. The moonflowers around them pulsed softly, their glow steady and calm. The night seemed to hold its breath, cradling them in a serene embrace. Leora leaned back, her eyes heavy with peaceful sleep, the story wrapping around her like a warm blanket. As Leora and Elira left the gentle embrace of the night's glen, the path led them toward a quiet grove where ancient willow trees swayed softly in the cool night breeze. Their long silken branches hung low like delicate curtains, brushing the ground with a whispering touch. The willows seemed to hum a gentle song as they moved, a melody woven from the rustling leaves and the soft sighs of the wind. Leora stepped beneath their boughs, feeling as though she were entering a secret world, one made of shadows and moonbeams. Welcome to the Whispering Willows, Elira said softly, her voice blending with the gentle music of the trees. These trees hold the stories of the wind, tales carried from faraway places and whispered into the night. Leora closed her eyes and breathed in deeply. The scent of fresh rain mingled with the earthy aroma of moss and bark, calming her mind and soothing her spirit. As she walked deeper into the grove, she noticed tiny lights flickering among the branches, glowing orbs like miniature moons, drifting slowly in the still air. They pulsed softly, their light ebbing and flowing like a heartbeat. Suddenly, a small figure appeared from behind the willow trunks, a delicate spirit with hair like spun silver and eyes that shimmered like morning dew. She moved with graceful ease, her laughter as soft as the rustling leaves. "I am Silva," she said, her voice a gentle breeze. "I tend to the whispers of the willows and gather the stories carried by the wind." Leora smiled warmly. "Will you share some of those stories with me, Silva?" Silva nodded, her eyes twinkling. "Come with me," she said, taking Leora's hand and guiding her beneath the canopy of swaying branches. Together, they wandered through the grove, listening to the soft murmurs of the wind as it danced through the leaves. Silva told tales of distant mountains, quiet valleys, and peaceful nights under endless skies. Each story was a soft thread, weaving a tapestry of calm and wonder that wrapped around Leora like a warm blanket. As the night deepened, Leora felt her eyelids grow heavy, the soothing whispers of the willows lulling her toward restful sleep. She thanked Silva quietly, feeling the gentle magic of the grove settle in her heart. With one last look at the shimmering orbs, Leora and Elira continued along the path, their steps slow and peaceful beneath the watching stars. After leaving the whispering willows behind, Leora and Elira wandered toward a new horizon, where the land softened into rolling hills bathed in the gentle glow of twilight. This was the cloud-soft meadow, a place where the earth felt like plush velvet beneath your feet, and the grass swayed like waves in a slow, dreamy sea. The sky stretched wide overhead, painted in delicate shades of rose and lavender, as if the clouds themselves were sighing into sleep. Tiny petals drifted down like feathers, carried on the light breeze that wrapped around them like a silken shawl. As they stepped into the meadow, Leora felt the soft ground press gently against her soles, like a cloud cradling her feet. The flowers here were unlike any she had seen, pale blooms with petals that shimmered like pearls and released a soft, calming fragrance that filled the air with quiet peace. Elira smiled warmly. "Relax, the cloud-soft meadow is a sanctuary for tired hearts and wandering dreams. Many come here to rest and find gentle comfort beneath the open sky." Leora breathed in the sweet scent, feeling the soothing calm spread through her chest. Nearby, a family of gentle deer grazed quietly, their movements slow and graceful, as if they too were part of the meadow's soft lullaby. Suddenly, a soft melody floated on the breeze, clear and tender, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. From behind a hill, a figure emerged, a tall, serene woman with hair that shimmered like woven moonlight and eyes full of gentle kindness. "Calm, I am Amara," she said, her voice a soothing balm. "Guardian of the cloud-soft meadow." She reached out, and the petals around them stirred as if waking from a deep sleep. "Softly, would you like to hear the song of the clouds?" Amara asked softly. Leora nodded, settling on a soft patch of grass as the melody swelled around them. The music was a gentle wave of sound that rose and fell like a heartbeat, carrying the promise of rest and renewal. As Leora closed her eyes, she felt herself drifting on a sea of soft clouds, floating high above the world in a cradle of calm. The stars blinked softly above, watching over her with quiet, loving light. The cloud-soft meadow wrapped around her like a dream made of gentle whispers, carrying her deeper into peaceful sleep. Leora nestled into the soft grass of the cloud-soft meadow, feeling the tender earth beneath her and the cool whisper of the night breeze brushing her cheeks. Amara's voice floated like a gentle breeze, weaving a song that wrapped around Leora's heart like a warm silken shawl. Softly, the clouds, Amara began softly, are the quiet wanderers of the sky. They carry the dreams of the world, drifting slowly across the heavens, cradling the moon and stars as they pass. As Amara sang, the petals of the meadow shimmered and swayed in time with the melody. The air seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the song, a slow, steady heartbeat that matched Leora's own breath.
Leora closed her eyes, imagining herself floating high above the earth, resting on a cloud as soft as feathers. The sky stretched wide and endless around her, painted with the tender hues of twilight and starlight. In this serene dreamscape, the worries of the day melted away like morning mist, replaced by a deep, calm stillness. The clouds cradled her gently, rocking her with the lullaby of the winds. The stars above blinked softly, their light a quiet promise that she was safe and cared for, no matter where her dreams might take you. Amara's song rose and fell like the waves of a calm sea, each note a soothing caress for the soul. The meadow around them glowed softly, the petals releasing tiny sparks of light that floated upward like fireflies. As the final notes faded into the night, Leora felt a warm glow bloom in her chest, a gentle reminder of the comfort and peace she had found beneath the vast sky. Opening her eyes, she saw Amara smiling kindly, her gaze filled with quiet strength. Whenever the night feels too dark, remember the clouds, she whispered. They will carry you gently through, always. Leora smiled back, her heart light and calm. Together, they rose from the meadow, stepping slowly toward the path that would lead them back home. Their footsteps soft, their spirits soothed. As Leora and Elira walked back along the winding path through Sevenvale, the first hints of dawn began to brush the sky with pale gold. The night's magic lingered in the air, soft whispers of moonlight fading into the gentle glow of morning. The trees around them seemed to bow quietly in farewell, their leaves shimmering faintly as the sun's first rays peeked through the branches. The fireflies' lights dimmed one by one, like tiny stars returning to the day. Leora's heart felt full and peaceful, wrapped in the warmth of the night's gentle embrace. She breathed deeply, savoring the cool, fresh air and the soft sounds of waking life around her. Ahead, the familiar shape of her cozy cottage appeared, nestled among flowering vines and soft green moss. A warm light shone through the window, promising rest and comfort. Elira smiled gently. This journey has been a gift, Leora. a reminder that peace and magic live in every quiet moment and in the gentle hearts who seek them.
Leora nodded softly, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Elira, for guiding me through this dream." She stepped inside, the soft wooden floor warm beneath her feet. As she settled beneath her cozy quilt, the memories of the glowing lanterns, the whispering willows, and the cloud-soft meadows wrapped around her like a lullaby. Outside, the world awoke slowly, the promise of a new day unfolding with gentle light. Leora closed her eyes, her breath soft and even. The peaceful magic of Sevenvale held her safely, carrying her into a night of deep, restful sleep. Dreams filled with quiet wonder and the soft glow of home. The soft twilight of Sevenvale lingered longer than usual that night, as if the stars themselves were stretching slowly across the sky to cradle the world in a gentle embrace. Leora sat by her window, watching the silver moon rise high, its pale light spilling like silk over the quiet hills. Her heart was full of the many wonders she had seen, the glowing lanterns that lit the ancient forest, the gentle stories whispered by Mirren the storyteller, the peaceful glow of the moonflowers in their meadow, and the soothing lullabies sung by Elira and Amara. Each memory was a soft thread, weaving together into a tapestry of peace and gentle magic. Tonight, as the night deepened and the world hushed, Leora felt the quiet call of Sevenvale's dreamscape beckoning her once more. She wrapped her shawl tighter around her shoulders and stepped outside, the cool air wrapping around her like a soft blanket. The path before her was bathed in moonlight, the silver stones glowing faintly with the promise of a peaceful journey. With each step, the worries of the waking world slipped further away, replaced by a calm that settled deep in her bones. As she walked, the trees bent gently overhead, their leaves whispering a lullaby only the night could sing. The fireflies rose around her like tiny stars come to life, their light pulsing softly in time with her steady breath. Ahead, the familiar wooden bridge awaited, humming softly under her feet as she crossed into the heart of the lantern forest once more. The trees glowed softly with amber and sapphire lanterns, their light weaving a gentle spell of calm and wonder. From the shadows emerged Mirren, his wings shimmering like spun glass in the moonlight. "Welcome back, Leora," he said with a soft smile. "Tonight, the forest holds a special secret, a gift just for you." Together, they ventured deeper into the woods, where the air grew thick with the scent of jasmine and the sound of a distant, soothing melody. The path wound through ancient trees, whose branches cradled glowing blossoms, flowers that opened only once every 100 years, releasing their magic into the night. Leora felt the air shimmer as they approached a clearing bathed in soft blue light. At its center, a circle of moonflowers bloomed fully, their petals unfolding like delicate hands reaching for the stars. Elira stepped forward from the shadows, her eyes shining with serene joy. "This is the heart bloom," she said, "a flower of purest light, born from the dreams of all who find peace here." Leora knelt beside the glowing petals, feeling their gentle warmth seep into her skin. The air hummed with quiet power, a stillness so deep it seemed to hold the very essence of night itself. "Tonight," Elira continued, "you are invited to add your own dream to the heart bloom, a wish for peace, for rest, and for gentle dreams to follow you always." Closing her eyes, Leora reached out her hand and let her hope drift into the flower's soft glow. A warmth blossomed in her chest, spreading like gentle sunlight through her veins. The heart bloom pulsed with light, its glow growing brighter and brighter until the entire clearing was bathed in a gentle radiance that seemed to stretch beyond the forest and into the stars. Around her, the night whispered ancient songs of comfort and hope, a lullaby sung by the earth, the moon, and the endless sky. Leora felt herself lifted, carried on the gentle currents of the night's magic. The worries of the world faded into the distance, replaced by a deep, endless peace. The stars above twinkled in quiet celebration, their light a soft embrace that would carry her through every night to come. "Rest now, dear one," the night seemed to say, "for you are held in the eternal embrace of peace and dreams." And as Leora drifted into sleep beneath the glowing heart bloom, the world sighed softly, wrapped in the gentle promise of forever calm, forever rest, and forever the soft, endless magic of Sevenvale. The gentle light of the heart bloom wrapped around Leora like a warm quilt, soft and radiant. She lay back on the mossy ground beneath the ancient canopy of stars, feeling their quiet watchfulness cradle her spirit. The air was still but alive, a delicate hum that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the earth itself. It was the kind of silence that sang a lullaby, a soft song for tired hearts and wandering souls. As Leora closed her eyes, the world began to shimmer and change, folding like delicate parchment into a dreamscape woven from the threads of night. Leora floated, as if the world beneath her had exhaled and placed her gently into the soft arms of the night. Sevenvale spread below like a living painting, the lantern-lit forests glowing in warm pulses, their lights swaying to some secret rhythm of the earth. The moonflower meadows shimmered like spilled silver, petals unfurling shyly under the moon's tender gaze. Each one seemed to breathe, their glow pulsing faintly. Inhale, exhale, in time with her own chest. The air was velvet and cool, carrying with it the perfume of jasmine, moonflower, and a faint trace of rain-kissed earth. She tilted her head back. The stars weren't distant points tonight. They were alive, breathing with her. Each inhale she took seemed to draw them closer. Each exhale sent threads of silver light tumbling down toward her, wrapping around her shoulders like ribbons of liquid silk. Below, the whispering willows bent low, their branches trailing in the dark water, brushing ripples that carried starlight away as if delivering celestial messages. The rivers caught those reflections and held them for just a heartbeat before letting them drift into shadow. Time slowed. It didn't move forward here. It lingered, stretching itself into moments that felt endless and whole. Every heartbeat was a droplet of moonlight falling into the quiet river of night, sending ripples that touched every corner of Sevenvale. Her thoughts, usually restless and sharp-edged, now floated softly like feathers set adrift in still water. Each thought shimmered faintly before fading, leaving only a lingering warmth. She realized each one was a wish for kindness, for gentleness, for the beauty found in moments too small for the world to notice. And then, without knowing when or how, she was standing again on the silver-stoned path. It curved through the forest like a ribbon spun from moonlight, every stone warm under her bare feet as though it remembered her steps from before. She took one slow step, then another. The sound of her footsteps was like a whisper in a quiet room, intimate, almost secret. "I will carry this calm with me," she promised herself, her voice silent but certain. Lanterns hung from the trees along the path, swaying gently, casting light that shifted colors. Soft silver when her heart needed stillness, pale rose when it longed for warmth, lavender when it ached for comfort. She reached out to touch one. It pulsed under her fingertips, not glass, not flame, but a slow, steady heartbeat. The air felt aware of her. Every breath she took, every glance, every slow blink seemed to stir something in the forest. The wind curled around her like a familiar friend, carrying the scent of fresh rain and wildflowers. Somewhere far away, a stream laughed quietly over stones, a sound like light made into water. Ahead, a veil of silver mist drifted across the path. She slowed, not with fear, but with reverence. The mist kissed her skin, warm and soft, like the breath of someone leaning close to say her name. The lantern glow blurred, edges melting into dream. Colors became watercolors, bleeding into one another until the world looked painted. She looked up. The sky was no longer a single sheet of night, but layered, veils of starlight and shadow. Some stars moved slowly, tracing graceful arcs across the heavens as though dancing. Others flared for just a heartbeat before sinking back into stillness, like old friends winking from afar. Her breathing matched theirs. She could feel it, the inhale drawing their glow closer, the exhale sending her own quiet light up to join them. It was ancient, older than memory, yet it felt like home. She closed her eyes and let her feet follow the path's pull. The stones beneath her vibrated faintly, humming a song without words. She felt it in her skin, in her bones, in the slow and steady beat of her heart. The hum became a lullaby, soft and endless. When she opened her eyes, the mist had thinned, and the forest ahead glowed more brightly, not with day's light, but with a promise of something waiting just beyond her reach. She knew the night was not done with her yet. The fireflies began to rise. At first, only a few, tiny golden sparks drifting upward like the first notes of a quiet song. But then, more came. Dozens, hundreds. They floated in slow spirals, weaving through the air as though moved by invisible hands. Their glow was warm, not just to the eyes, but to the skin, like the touch of a fire that couldn't burn, only comfort. The forest stilled. Even the leaves seemed to hold their breath as the fireflies formed a circle around Leora. Their pulsing light matched the rhythm of her own heartbeat, slow, steady, hypnotic. And then, from that golden haze, shapes began to emerge. First came Mirren. His wings shimmered as if woven from morning frost and sunlight, each beat scattering 1,000 silver motes into the air. He smiled at her, not with lips, but with a light in his eyes. Then Elira appeared, wrapped in robes the color of deep twilight, each fold catching the starlight and holding it like a memory. Her gaze was vast, like looking into the farthest edge of the night sky, where dreams were first born. Amara followed, her smile soft and luminous, as though it had been shaped from dawn's first light. And Silva, the spirit of the willows, stepped forward last, her presence a gentle tide, her eyes reflecting the slow drift of moonlit water. Leora felt her chest tighten, not with fear, but with the overwhelming tenderness of the moment. She wanted to speak, to tell them how much she had missed them, how much their quiet strength had meant to her, but no words came. She realized she didn't need them.
They spoke without speaking.
You are part of the night's song. The thought brushed against her mind. A note in a melody woven from dreams and starlight. The truth of it struck deep. She wasn't simply visiting Sevenvale. She belonged to it as much as the lanterns, the meadows, the willows, the stars. Warmth began to bloom in her chest, a small glowing ember at first, then brighter, fuller, until it was a light she could feel radiating through her skin. It spread outward in waves, each one softer than the last, wrapping her in a cocoon of gold and silver. She recognized it Instantly, the heart bloom.
She had felt it once before, but never like this, never so vivid, so alive. It wasn't just magic. It was peace made visible, hope given form. Every beat of her heart seemed to send ripples of this light through the world around her. The fireflies danced faster, catching fragments of her glow and scattering them into the forest. The air was rich with scent, jasmine, lavender, the deep green smell of moss after rain. She could almost taste the sweetness in the air, like the first sip of warm tea on a cold morning. Mirren stepped closer, brushing his hand through the air beside her, sending a small spray of glowing motes spiraling toward the sky. Elira touched her shoulder lightly, and the warmth
In her chest, steady and warm. She knew this was her anchor, her safe place. No matter where she walked in the waking world, she could close her eyes and find her way back to this light. Above, the stars seemed to hum softly, as though they too had been part of the gathering. And far in the distance, she thought she heard a single willow leaf fall into the stream, a small, perfect sound in the stillness. Morning came quietly, as though it was afraid to disturb the last fragile threads of night's dream. Pale gold spilled gently across Leora's window, not in a rush, but like water trickling over stone. Soft, patient, inevitable. She opened her eyes slowly, the weightless calm of Sevenvale still clinging to her like a second skin. The first thing she noticed was the silence. Not empty silence, but the kind that's full of small, delicate sounds. The faint rustle of leaves, the soft breath of wind. Somewhere far away, the lazy call of a morning bird greeting the day. She lay there for a moment, simply breathing, letting the memory of the night settle deeper into her bones.
When she finally rose, the wooden floor under her bare feet was cool, carrying the faint scent of cedar and last night's rain. She stepped to the window. Outside, the world was awash in colors so gentle they seemed painted by memory. Rose, lavender, pale gold, all melting into one another at the horizon. The moonflowers in her garden were just beginning to close, their glow dimming, folding themselves inward like sleepy children retreating under warm blankets. She wrapped a light shawl around her shoulders and stepped outside. The air embraced her instantly, cool, fresh, laced with the faint sweetness of night still lingering in the grass. The garden was awake in its own quiet way. The pond lay still and perfect, a sheet of glass reflecting the watercolor sky. She could see clouds drifting lazily across its surface, like dreams that had not yet decided whether to fade or stay. She moved slowly, almost afraid to disturb the peace. Her fingertips brushed over the petals of the last moonflowers, feeling the faint warmth still clinging to them from their night-long glow. The memory of the heart bloom pulsed in her chest, steady and warm, as if reminding her it was still there, waiting, watching. The air was threaded with scents, the earthy sweetness of damp soil, the green freshness of new leaves, and somewhere beneath it all, the lingering perfume of jasmine from the night before.
She closed her eyes for a moment, drawing it deep into her lungs, holding it there as if she could store the peace for later. Mirren, Elira, Amara, Silva. She spoke their names in her mind, each one a note in a song that still echoed softly through her heart. She could feel their kindness lingering, woven into the stillness of the morning, as though the forest itself had carried their voices into the day. She paused beside the pond. The surface rippled faintly, not from wind, but from a single willow leaf drifting down, landing with the gentlest kiss. Circles spread outward, slow and perfect, fading only when they reached the pond's edge. Leora's reflection shimmered with them, bending and straightening, as though the water wanted to remind her that she too was part of these rhythms. Her thoughts turned to the silver-stoned path, to the lantern-lit forest, to the slow pulse of the fireflies. Each memory felt whole, like a jewel she could turn in her hands and examine from every angle. None of it felt distant. It was all here, stitched into the quiet fabric of her morning. She took another slow step, the soft grass cool against her skin, and looked up toward the horizon. The sun was climbing higher now, its golden light spilling over the edges of the trees, kissing the rooftops of distant cottages. The bird song grew richer, fuller, as though they too were ready to welcome the day. A breeze stirred the petals at her feet, lifting them just enough to make them dance. It felt playful, almost like Sevenvale itself had leaned in to whisper a farewell just for her. She smiled, tilting her head as if listening. In that moment, she could almost hear it, the faintest echo of the night's lullaby, carried in the air. She knew then, with a deep, quiet certainty, that the magic had not left her. It would never leave. The Heartbloom's light would be with her in every breath, every step, every glance toward the stars. Turning back toward her cottage, she let the sunlight wrap around her, warm and reassuring. She stepped inside, carrying the stillness with her like a treasured gift. The day ahead would be full, it always was, but she was not afraid of its noise or weight. She had Sevenvale inside her now. She had the silver path, the moonflower meadows, the lantern forests, the whispering willows, and she had the quiet promise that when twilight came again, the stars would open their arms and guide her back. That thought alone made her heart feel light. She moved through her cottage slowly, touching familiar things, the smooth edge of the wooden table, the worn fabric of her chair, the little carved figurine by the window, all of it seeming richer, deeper, touched by the night's magic. And when the day faded, when the last streaks of gold slipped below the horizon, she would return to her bed, close her eyes, and let Sevenvale's gentle story carry her once more. Until then, she would walk through the waking hours with the dream glowing quietly in her heart.